Maxxxine, the final installment in Ti West's horror trilogy, releases in theatres in the US and UK on the 5th of June. And to help you prepare for the release and get you up to date, we're doing a recap of both Pearl and X. Hi guys, I hope you're doing really well. My name is Sarah and welcome to What the Horror, the channel where we talk about horror movies old and new. Maxxine's release is almost upon us and I for one cannot wait. It is written and directed by Ti West, stars Mia Goth and acts as the final installment of West's recent X trilogy. It will act as a sequel to both Pearl, set in 1918, and X, set in 1979, but most specifically X, as it is a continuation of Maxxine's story, the titular character. So, seeing as how it will be a continuation of the story and may possibly and more than likely refer back to events in those films, I thought it would be useful to do a recap of events so far. I have already done a recap of Pearl, which I will link here and in the description box below. But today, we are doing a recap of X. So if you have neither the time nor the inclination to watch or rewatch these films, then don't worry because I've got you covered. It goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway, this episode will contain major spoilers for the film, so just bear that in mind if you haven't seen it yet. The film opens on a farm in rural Texas in 1979. Local law enforcement has been called to the farm because of the discovery of multiple dead bodies strewn around the farm. The sheriff walks around the crime scene before being called into the basement, where the officers have discovered something rather shocking. The film then jumps back 24 hours earlier, and topless dancer turned aspiring movie star Maxxxine Minx is setting off on a trip to film an adult movie, along with producer boyfriend Wayne, fellow dancer Bobby Lynn, ex-Marine Jackson, director RJ, and RJ's girlfriend Lorraine. The six of them leave Houston and head out to film on a rural farm where Wayne has arranged for them to rent the guest house. During the road trip, the group stop at a gas station where they stock up on supplies, they start gathering footage for the movie, and Maxxxine tells Wayne that she's ready to be a star, that she wants the whole world to know her name. Contrasting with the group's more bohemian way of thinking and scattered throughout the film's runtime is footage on the TV of a pastor delivering a sermon on evil, morality, and the corruption of our young. When the six of them arrive at the farm owned by Howard and Pearl, Howard isn't exactly happy about the group staying there, complaining to Wayne that he never said there would be more than just him. Howard momentarily seems struck by Maxxxine, but then tells them to be discreet as his wife is up at the farmhouse. Wayne excuses Howard's behaviour down to him being old and probably envious of the young people and their lives they have ahead of them. Wayne then decides that they should start filming, and while Bobby Lynn and Jackson get down to business, Maxxxine goes for a walk down to the lake. Deciding to go for a swim, Maxxxine doesn't notice Pearl watching her from the trees, or Frida the crocodile swimming towards her. On her way back to the guest house, Maxxxine is waved up to the farmhouse by Pearl. Pearl's fixation on Maxxxine comes from the reveal that Maxxxine looks exactly like Pearl when she was younger. Over a glass of lemonade, Pearl tells Maxxxine she wanted to be a dancer when she was younger, but that life doesn't always work out the way you think it will. When Howard returns home, Pearl panics and hurries Maxxxine out the side door, and while shaken by her talk with Pearl, Maxxxine returns to the guest house to film her scene with Jackson. Pearl sneaks down and watches, and then afterwards tries to seduce Howard, who rejects her, saying his heart can't take it. Back at the guest house, the group talk over beers and disgusting looking sandwiches about their dreams for the future and how the introduction and future of home adult movies can give them a chance to make something of themselves. Fascinated by what she saw earlier, Lorraine asks the others about how they keep the clear divide between love and sex. And after a little Fleetwood Mac sing-song, Lorraine declares that she too wants to do a scene in the movie. After they film the scene, RJ, upset and angry, attempts to leave the farm, stranding the others there. But before he can leave, he's stopped by Pearl, who makes a pass at him, and when he too rejects her, Pearl kills him with a knife. When Lorraine later wakes to find RJ missing, she goes looking for him with the help of Wayne, who tells her that RJ will be fine and is probably just off somewhere processing things. And because this is a horror movie, they decide to split up, with Wayne heading to the barn and Lorraine heading for the farmhouse. In the barn, Wayne first steps on a nail, and then when he peeps through some holes in the wall to check out a shadow he saw, he's killed with a pitchfork by Pearl. Back at the farmhouse, Lorraine finds Howard, who's also out looking for Pearl. Howard asks Lorraine for help, but when he sends her down to the basement to get a torch, he locks her in. Already distressed by this, Lorraine is then terrified when she discovers a naked corpse tied up and hanging from the ceiling of the basement. Howard then heads down to the guest house where he asks Jackson for help finding his wife. The two again split up and search round the lake. Howard then tries to lure Jackson into the water by leaving his torch there, and then when that doesn't work, Howard just shoots him. In the meantime, Pearl sneaks to the guest house and climbs into bed with Maxxine, and when Maxxine wakes up and sees Pearl next to her, she screams, waking Bobby Lynn and sending Pearl running. While looking for Wayne and Jackson, Bobby Lynn finds Pearl down by the lake. She tries to help her, but Pearl rejects her kindness, and after a few harsh words from both parties, Pearl pushes Bobby Lynn into the lake, where she is then eaten by Frida the crocodile. Nasty way to go. While Maxxine is cleaning herself, she hears Pearl and Howard come into the guest house. She hides from them under the bed and then sneaks out while Pearl and Howard are having sex. Discovering the van vandalized, Maxxine goes looking for the keys to Howard's van. While looking, she finds Lorraine and lets her out of the basement. She tells Lorraine to be quiet and that they need to be careful if they're going to escape. But Lorraine, angry and frightened, runs away screaming, only to be killed by Howard. While dragging Lorraine's body back inside, Howard has a heart attack and Maxxine takes the opportunity to try and escape. She grabs the keys to Howard's truck and tries to shoot Pearl, but the pistol belonging to Wayne isn't loaded. But then when Pearl shoots at Maxxine, she misses and the recoil knocks her out onto the porch. Pearl verbally abuses Maxxine as she's getting into Howard's truck, telling her it'll all be taken away from her just as it was taken from Pearl. But in response to this, Maxxine gets in the truck, reverses, and runs over Pearl's head, killing her. As Maxxine makes her escape, it is revealed that the preacher on the TV is actually Maxxine's father, and the film ends with the sheriff and the officers finding RJ's camera, and the sheriff saying it probably contains one goddamn up horror picture. So that is a recap of Ti West's X. Let me know your thoughts down below on X and on the upcoming Maxxine. It has become abundantly clear to me that Pearl is not for everyone. It seems as though people either love it or really don't. So I'm really interested to know if X is the same way for people. After having seen the trailer for Maxxine, I do wonder if this is the one in the trilogy that is going to be the most accessible. I just can't wait to watch it and to see what other people think of it, and also just to feel how all the films fit together and feel coherently as a trilogy, because having rewatched X after watching Pearl, that just hits differently. So it'll be interesting to see how the whole trilogy feels once completed. If you are new here and liked this episode, then please do give it a thumbs up and click that subscribe button to join the What the Horror family, and to make sure that you don't miss out on any upcoming episodes, including a review of the upcoming Maxxine. And if you would like to join this list of names here and get access to extra content every week on top of what you get here on the channel, then there will be a link to my Patreon page in the description box below. This week I've just filmed a video for my Patreons that is my favorite pieces in my physical media collection. It is about an hour long, but you know, we're talking physical media, so it's a fun time. As far as this channel, that should be it for recaps for a little while, and then next Sunday will be my monthly recap of everything that I watched in June. But in the meantime, thank you as always for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. Take care of yourselves, and I will talk to you in the next episode.